It's going to be like limited in a bunch of ways, and it's going to be like for one specific purpose, which is going to be a modern day kind of like netbook.
Oh, and don't say the word.
Do you remember those things?
All right, let's end the dude. Do not say that word. It is very, very bad to say that. Never mention that again.
The netbook.
Hey,
okay.
What are you doing, man? Like I'm twitching over here.
It's a thin and light. That's so funny. What an era.
Man, those were terrible.
Yeah. It's overtime. Yeah. Overtime.
So, man, there's been a lot happening, and it feels like after a couple of months of a lull, things are starting to bubble big time.
Finally.
Software and hardware wise.
Yeah, January and February is known to be kind of slow, especially in the tech world. We got spoiled a little bit with the Vision Pro stuff a couple years ago, but now March is coming, and it looks like we got some things brewing finally. You know?
Yeah.
Where should we start? You want to start with the update or with the experience event?
Let's start with the update. Let's get that out of the way, because we've talked about that quite a bit. But what is the update?
So 26.4 developer beta 1. Is the public beta out?
Yes.
I'm not 100% sure. Oh, it is? Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you guys want to venture into the first beta, public beta, go for it. But we got some decent updates. I mean, you made a crazy video with at least 40 new updates. I kind of covered the iPad OS side and kind of overlapping, but what are some of the standouts? I know Apple Music got a nice little revamp, and I like it, honestly.
Yeah, I think the Apple Music thing is, as far as like a user-facing feature, that is the thing that really stands out, because so you get full bleed on the album page when you're listening to a song. Like you get full bleed album artwork that bleeds now all the way down into the track listing. So it's like if there's like, for instance, one of Taylor Swift's albums, she has a purple dress on. So the dress is purple and it's animated on top of that. But then that dress, like the purple color, bleeds all the way down the entire track listing, which is really cool. It just looks very cohesive.
Yeah, it's like it immerses the entire UI in like the album art cover or whatever the color that they're using. So I mean, I think it looks cool. You know, it's I've seen, like I mentioned earlier, there was a lot of comparisons now to Spotify because those are the big players, and now it definitely does make Spotify look more outdated.
Really, in what way would you say? Because I'm not a Spotify user, so like that's an interesting take. Like what?
So, I mean, I am a Spotify user. I have been since probably like 2012, I want to say 2013. So 10 years of Spotify plus. But it kind of just looks. I mean, it didn't feel outdated until Apple made this update, because it's just kind of like you get the box of the album artwork or the square of the playlist, and then it's just like a black background, and then all the names of all the songs that you're listening to on your playlist or something like that, or the album. Versus, like you said, now with Apple Music, which is still in beta, it's still not public, but it looks a lot more immersive. It looks prettier. It looks like, it's taking up the entire screen of your phone in a good way, versus it just being kind of like this stagnated or broken up box and then list of songs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, it looks fantastic. And even like your playlist, even like mundane things like playlists, they are also fully immersed, like the track listing, taking your playlist background. I think it looks best though when there's animated album artwork.
Yes.
I think that's
100%. I think it looks sick.
And I'm trying to figure out how to, because I recently signed up to Apple Music for Artists, like the little back end thing where you can upload your profile picture and stuff like that for your artist page. But I cannot figure out, how do you go about getting animated album artwork on there? Like I can't.
Interesting.
I need to figure that out, because I want to figure out the whole workflow. Animated album artwork, videos, all that. And like Apple Music for Artists, it's very basic. So I'm thinking there must be something else that I'm missing that, if anyone knows, let us know. But yeah.
I wonder if it's like you got to meet like a certain threshold to have the ability to do that,
Oh, well,
like
I ain't never getting that. YouTube. I ain't never getting that then. It's a wrap.
Go listen to our boy. It's fire. You got to leave it linked down below for sure.
Oh man. But yeah, so the Apple Music updates, and also there's the new playlist feature. And
that's what I was going to say next.
The AI
because the UI stuff is not functional. It's just like an aesthetic, right? There's nothing crazy about it, but the functional stuff, as you were saying, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, so there's this new playlist feature where you can. It sort of reminds me of. Do you remember Beats, like the app, the Beats app from back in the day, before
I
Apple
remember that app.
before Apple purchased Beats, they
Okay.
had their own app where, and there was like some videos, some music videos where like they would show the Beats app. You know how they, in product advertising on music videos, like they'll have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so videos back then they used to incorporate the Beats app, and the cool thing about the Beats app was that you could type in like text prompts as to what type of music you were wanting to listen to, and it would
Interesting.
create a playlist for you based on that.
So they were way ahead of the game.
Yeah, actually, they really were. So it was.
I didn't
it
know
was,
Beats had like a streaming app.
They had their own. If I'm not mistaken, I could.
I think I'm kind of remember. Maybe you're right. I mean, I remember like Tidal. That was a big one for a while. I mean, like a big one.
There was the
You know?
Beats app, and I think like some of the Apple Music that when Apple made Apple Music app, that was like they incorporated some of the features from that.
That is ringing a bell. Like they
Yeah.
acquired Beats and the app,
Yeah,
and then I think because they acquired Beats first, and then the app came second, like Apple Music, right?
I believe
In
so.
terms of
It's
timeline?
kind of
Yeah.
blurry right now, but
Yeah.
I do remember that app being able to build like playlists from text prompts, which is really forward thinking when you think about it, because now that's
For sure.
like that's all we're doing now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, and so you can put in a text prompt. It gives you some canned text prompts as well. So it's like play 70s disco or build a 70s disco like soundtrack, and then you just tap the
Yeah.
button and it'll build that for you using, I guess, some AI generated playlists. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like image playgrounds, but I think they're calling it music playground or
Playlist playground.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it works well. I mean, for the most part, I tested it a couple times. It's got this cool like Aura UI thing happening when it's building it. But yeah, it's a cool little feature, which I like. You know, add a little layer. Now, do we think that's like an inference into? Do you think they're using like Gemini for that, or is that just it is what it is?
I don't
Apple
know.
knows.
I mean, I would think so, but
Right?
it's hard to tell. Like even like the little logo sort of looks like the Gemini logo, a little diamond.
That's what I'm
But-
saying. Yeah.
But it was pointed out to me that it's not as thick as the Gemini logo, and this is basically like a stock symbols asset within
Okay.
that Apple uses for San Francisco, like one of their stock symbols, basically SF symbols.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's not technically a Gemini logo, but it does look like it for sure.
I mean, that's what I thought originally, because it is that like diamond logo, and like, but it's only in one solid color. I don't know. You know, I thought maybe this was supposed to be the first one. Maybe that was the first thing that they rolled out, but who knows? Maybe it'll change big time. But so I
And
mean,
it could
what a-
be. Yeah, it could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is some other things in the update. This is a weird one. I still haven't been able to really fully wrap my mind around why, but there's that new feature that allows search on iCloud.com. If you go to your iCloud settings, there's a little switch there where you can enable searching on iCloud.com for your photos and for your files or an iCloud drive. And basically, you have to have a trusted device that allows that. There's an option for that. To me, if you can access your photos and your files anyway, why do you need something to verify for your search?
My thought process was this all goes down to like Apple playing nicer with non-Apple people. But again, if you're in iCloud, then you are an Apple person. But I don't know, maybe you have an iPad or a Mac and you have iCloud, but you're using an Android phone and you go into web iCloud and search for your like photos that way. Because there is no iCloud app that an Android user can download, right?
Okay.
As of right now. That was my initial reaction in terms of being able to search that kind of stuff. Because I don't know, if you're all in on Apple, I don't know why you would need that. Or maybe you sign into iCloud because you don't have any of your Apple devices and you want to like download a couple photos and send it to somebody else.
But
At like an internet cafe. I don't know.
but I get that. I get that aspect. But why do you need that just to search? I understand being able to access your content. And this has nothing to do with advanced data protection, by the way. So advanced data
Yeah.
protection, it really locks down you have to have a trusted device to be able to access iCloud. Period. For those various data types. But for this, I'm just trying to understand like what's the thought process behind. Like you can view your stuff, but you can't search without this trusted device. That's the weird thing to me. And like, I'm missing something. Something's just not clicking. So anyway, but there's that new feature as well. And then there is the notification forwarding. We got to first look at that. So that's a feature that will allow you to use third-party smartwatch and have your notifications from your iPhone forwarded, just like it does on the Apple Watch today. But be able to forward those notifications to like an Android smartwatch.
Or like I know that like Pebble, the comeback, I'm sure that's big for them, because they're like app agnostic or OS agnostic, and I'm sure they want to have as much access as possible. So it'll be easier to get notifications from Android than it is from Apple, and Apple's just kind of opening that up a little bit. Yeah. My question is, how user friendly is it going to be? Like, do you need to? So I watched your video. It was kind of, you need to know what you're doing in order to kind of set everything up. I wonder if like they're going to allow these third party watch manufacturers or whatever the case is to make it user friendly to allow for all these notifications to show up all at once.
Yeah, I mean, it looked fairly straightforward. I think one of the things that Apple is also going to allow is the like the pairing. You know how AirPods pair, just having the device nearby. Yeah. Well, third-party devices can now tap into that. We'll be able to tap into that as well. So you could have a Pebble watch, for instance, and just put it close to your iPhone, and it will recognize that and be able to start pairing that way. So that could be one easy way to sort of ease the user into that whole setup experience with notifications as well.
Which would be nice. Yeah. Which I'll take that. And then kind of segue into back to like the Apple Music, but now Apple Podcasts, which I know was a big one.
Oh yeah.
They got a nice big update, which I'm happy about. They brought video over to Apple Podcasts finally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which would be big for us. So hopefully, I wonder what that flow is going to look like because Jeff is the one that puts everything out for everybody to listen to and view on YouTube. But I wonder what it's going to be like when you upload a video to Apple Podcasts, and if that workflow. I guess the workflow has to be set up already, or I wonder how that works.
Yeah. So I don't think you're. What I'm thinking is that you're uploading a video to one of the providers, and then Apple is just like they just serve sort of like an RSS feed. But basically, like we do today. So we don't actually upload a podcast to Apple servers. We upload them to our servers, and then Apple Podcasts basically is able to look and grab that and distribute it. So I'm thinking it's going to work the same way. But my thought is that you would just upload one video file, and then they would be able to either serve audio or video from that one file. So the really cool thing about this is you'll be able to switch right there on the fly between audio and video. Yeah. So it's not like you have to have two different files, or you'll be like your syncing won't be aligned when you're switching between audio and video. So it looks like it's just going to be a very, very simple service to where users can both view and listen and switch between the two at will. So
yeah. Which makes sense because there's already some video content, and there's no way that these podcast producers or companies were putting video out specifically for Apple Podcasts already.
Yeah.
So I mean, we found there's already video content on Apple Podcasts with 26.4, which is nice, and the UI is easy, like you said. You can switch between them. So if you're like in a situation where you have limited data and you don't want to pull up the video on 5G, you can just switch to audio, and when you're on Wi-Fi, switch it back on to video. So no, it's pretty well thought out, and it's very easy, which I like. Yeah, and I'm a big video podcast consumer, huge video podcast consumer.
Yeah, I definitely think that is the direction that things are going. I mean, obviously, audio podcasts will always be a thing because you think of there's just situations where you're not able to watch, and situations where you just don't want to, right? You don't want to watch a video when you're at the park and you're taking a walk or you're driving or whatever.
Like I think YouTube does it super well, especially with YouTube Premium, where it's like, yes, I go to YouTube to watch the podcast, but like you said, since I have YouTube Premium and I'm like walking my dog, I'm not gonna like walk my dog like this, I'll just lock my phone, put it in my pocket, and I'm still listening to it.
I don't think he would appreciate that either.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's crazy. There's a lot of people that do that in the neighborhood. They just like Their necks are down and they're just like walking around like this with their dog. I'm like, don't you do that already at home all day? Like, breathe a little, look up, talk to somebody.
That's weird, man. That's strange. Anyway,
But hey, it is what it is. Maybe they're just done communicating with. They communicate with people all day at work, and they just want a second to themselves. Who knows?
maybe so.
Benefit.
But what about the dog? What about the dog?
Yeah, right. You gotta play with your dog. But yeah, so the video podcast, or the video implementation into the podcast app, that's nice. Another thing Spotify's had for a little while now. So now, it's definitely like a big music streaming war between Spotify and Apple.
I don't know. I definitely prefer Apple. Like I did, play with Spotify a couple of weeks ago, and you're right. It does look outdated. Like it looks antiquated compared to Apple Music, and I don't know. I just prefer Apple Music. I prefer the layout. I think it's less confusing. I think it's more straightforward. Although Apple Music is not a beacon of usability either. I think it is a little bit more usable than Spotify, but
yeah, there is this whole argument because Spotify is doing a lot in their app right now. Like you got music, of course. You do have. I don't think you have dedicated music videos, but you have snippets of music videos in TikTok format, swipeable format, if you want to, which is interesting. They do audiobooks now. They do podcast and video podcasts. So it's everything is in one. Some people like that, or you can go to the Apple side, which is you have the Apple Music application, you have the Apple Podcast application, and you have, is it still Apple Books or Books, whatever it's called, for audiobooks. So it's a little bit more separated. Other people like it that way. So I guess it's just kind of what you're used to, what you started off with, and then kind of how you want everything played out, if you want it separate or all together.
Yeah. It's definitely a different approach. But it does feel cluttered to a degree. It just feels a little overwhelming with all the different moving parts.
I can definitely see that. But like I said, I've been with it for so long that it's just what I know right now. And it's it has the opposite effect. I've tried Apple Music. I switched to Apple Music for a little bit because it worked better on the Apple Watch, especially when you were just doing Apple Watch music streaming, when I went on runs and things like that. The Spotify app would always break down in the middle of my runs, and I hated that. Apple Music was a lot better in that capacity, but outside of I couldn't get used to it. Maybe I got to give it more time. I don't know. But unfortunately I'm paying for both.
Exactly. That's man. Yeah. So did Spotify fix their watch problem?
I kind of gave up on it, honestly.
Oh.
I just started bringing my phone with me, to be honest. Yeah. Which again defeats the purpose of having part of the reason I got the Ultras because it had data already connected to it and longer battery life for the streaming, and maybe it's because where I run it is kind of a dead spot. But again, Apple Music is able to hold on to the music for longer. It could cache the music for longer, maybe. I don't know. But I never had an issue with streaming on Apple Music on my watch. Spotify, I did have an issue.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that is iOS 26.4 beta 1. Obviously, this is just the first of many betas. We'll no doubt see. Hopefully, next beta will have some Gemini stuff or some of the new AI stuff. But there's nothing real significant in this update in relation to the new AI features that Apple's working on. So,
yeah. Even the like you said, the playlist playground was a surprise. Kind of came. I thought we were going to get nothing AI related. But that's at least a little something, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else 26.4 wise that came out or no?
There's a lot, but I mean,
a lot of little nuanced things.
Watch the videos. Yeah, watch the videos. We'll have more on that in the future. But let's talk about this new event that's coming up in March. Because
whoa! I think you mean experience.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Let's talk about this new experience that's coming up on March 4th.
I know. Apple put out the invite. Funny enough, I saw a funny tweet the other day, and it was Apple didn't even use Apple Invites to send out the invite. And I was like, oh, that would have been funny. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I feel like there's going to be a lot of hardware that they're going to release, but it's going to be in the press release format that they've done before, where they kind of stagger it throughout the week. I don't think there's going to be a big keynote happening.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, it seems like they have done this before, where they have a little press release and they'll have little mini videos related to the
exactly.
update. So I'm thinking that's the route that they're gonna take this. And there's a lot here. There's the iPhone 17e, there's the base iPad, there's the M4 iPad Air, the MacBook, the M5 MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro with the M5 Pro and Max, the M5 Mac Studio, the Apple Studio Display 2, and a second Mac display, which could possibly be the update to the new Pro Display XDR. Out of all those things, what stands out to you the most? Because we don't have time to talk about them all in depth, but is there something on there that really stands out to you more so than the others? I definitely have one. I'm not going to say it yet. I'll let you go first.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's the low cost MacBook.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
Because, not because I'm the target audience for it or the market for it, but I'm just so curious how. I'm curious to know what it looks like. Is it gonna be rivaled to the 12-inch MacBook or kind of like bring that back? How's Apple gonna position it so it doesn't take away MacBook Air sales? There's like so many questions that I have about this MacBook, but I am very excited and very intrigued by it for sure.
I am super intrigued by this. This is out of everything here, really nothing else on this list interests me. Like,
Same.
like
17e iterative, like the M5 Pro, M5 Max, it was coming. M5 MacBook Air was coming, but like this new MacBook is a new product category, or not product category, but a new product in the laptop category.
I would go to the degree to say it's a new product category. I mean, not. Okay. I understand what you're saying. Like it is.
Yeah.
It's a very significant new product within the category. I guess you could say
Absolutely.
that. But
yeah,
we have not seen a low cost MacBook ever. When you really think about it, ever.
Yeah. Like that's the one thing that like Windows has always had on Apple. Like you could walk into a Best Buy and spend $300 on like a Windows Chromebook collab or something, and then walk out and you'll be fine. Apple's never had that like super low cost entry point. MacBook Air is as close as we've gotten. What is that? $899, $1,000. You can get lucky on Amazon, get it for $800 if you want. But this is going to be supposedly $599 maybe, all the way down there, which is kind of insane for a MacBook, right? So yeah, there's a lot of interesting tidbits about it, right? It's not going to have an M series processor. It's going to have an iPhone level one, an A18 Pro chip. So that's probably going to differentiate some things. I bet you it's only going to have like one USB-C port and one MagSafe connector. It's going to be like limited in a bunch of ways, and it's going to be like for one specific purpose, which is going to be a modern day kind of like netbook.
Oh, don't say the word.
Do you remember those things?
All right, let's end the dude. Do not say that word. It is very, very bad to say that. Never mention that
era
again.
Of the netbook.
Hey, okay. What are you doing, man? Like I'm twitching over here.
It's a thin and light. That's so funny. Wow, what an era.
Man, those were terrible. Those were so bad.
You know, they were just ahead of their time, you know? They tried to do it, but they were 20 years too early.
Yes, to say the least. Even the MacBook, the 12-inch MacBook was 10 years too early. Like,
yeah.
It was an amazing device. I love that. It's probably one of my favorite Macs of all time. But it was absolutely also horrible at the same time. Like it was like the best, but the worst in one device. And it was the best because it was super thin and light. It had no fan. It was dead silent, but it also throttled like crazy. And it just wasn't. And
the second you open like a second Safari tab, it would just like choke up.
Dude, do you know I made for like the first year of 9 to 5 Mac all our videos with the 12-inch MacBook?
No, you didn't.
Yes. Like
with like the M Core processor?
I can't even remember what kind of processor it was.
It wasn't the Intel ones. It was like it wasn't like an i7 or i5 or whatever. It was definitely like an M Core, whatever that is or was back then.
It was an i3, wasn't it?
I'm like 99% sure it was. I'll look it up while you talk about it. Let me see.
Yeah, but anyway, like this machine was amazing. It was so thin, so light. I could in the back of your seats in your car where you have the little pockets, like you could just store it in that pocket, and it wouldn't because I'm really particular. I won't talk about medical conditions, but I'm very particular. You can probably guess what condition I have, but it basically like it didn't like warp, because I don't like putting things in those pockets that are going to make it like warp and like make it stretch, and then when you take it out, it's going to be like this big like stretch.
It's like a flap.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells you what type of person I am. But yeah, so you could put
it was an Intel chip, but it was a Core M series processor designed for fanless operation.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Okay.
Back in the day.
I thought it was like an
that's what it
i3, but I guess it wasn't. Okay, anyway. But yeah, it had no fan. It was super thin. And you could put it in that little pocket in the back of your car, or in the back seat, or in the like the seat pocket.
The front in the yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't stretch anything out, but it was just super thin and light. And the cool thing about it, though, was it had no fan. And for me, again, going back to the whole thing, like fan noise is like my worst enemy. I cannot stand fan noise. I will do anything to reduce it. I've taken my MacBook Pro. When I use that connected to a monitor, and when it's making fan noise, I'll shove it under like a bunch of blankets, or I'll put it under like in a cabinet or something. I don't want to hear that. Like it drives me.
Sure, that like whizzing.
It drives me insane. So that was like having that, and then comparing that to like a MacBook Air or something that made a lot of fan noise when editing in Final Cut Pro. That was one of my main reasons why I loved this machine, is because I could edit videos on that. Yes, it was slow. Yes, it was very time consuming. Yes, it was just clunky at times because it just wasn't very powerful, but it was dead silent. And that was like, it was a first, because you really never had a machine before then where you could edit video on and it not make any noise.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, even the MacBook Air had a fan in it for the first decade of its existence. And that thing was also thin and light, I remember. You know? So when it came out in 2015, it was wild. And I remember a lot of people picked that thing up because it was just so convenient. It was like the perfect like business laptop for those people that are just doing email, doing like Microsoft Teams, you know, opening up an Excel sheet, just kind of quick things on the fly. And that's what it was perfect for. Most people weren't crazy like you and editing in Final Cut Pro to have a 4K video out in 2015 or something like that. But it was just like, I saw it as recently. Somebody was using it the other day, and like maybe like 2 years ago, they were using it seriously. They were like writing some document out on those mushy keys, the butterfly keyboard.
Yeah, I forgot. That's another thing about it, man. Those keys were terrible.
With like negative key travel.
Yeah, they were really bad. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was one of the definite downside to it. And also the lack of USB-C ports, because it didn't have Thunderbolt at all. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think it was Thunderbolt compatible at all. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. It was just a USB-C port. I think, was it 1 or 2 ports? I can't remember.
It was just the one. It was just one, and then you had a headphone jack on the other side.
Okay. Yeah,
that's all it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and this was a time where like USB-C, especially for especially for like Apple people, USB-C was still like relatively foreign. Right?
Very.
It was like 10 years ago.
It was
like USB-C. Like what is this? Like it's the future. You know, like you can do everything with this USB-C port, but nobody really understood that. So it was like, what am I? I can't plug in a USB-C stick or a USB stick or whatever.
Yeah, so it was actually the first. Now you're jogging my memory here. It was the first Apple product with USB-C.
It was.
Yeah, like it was before, it predated Thunderbolt. Like it not Thunderbolt, but it predated Thunderbolt 3, which had the USB-C form factor, right?
Yeah.
That came out in 2016 with the 2016 MacBook Pro refresh. So this was, I mean, it was a very forward-thinking laptop. It was just ahead of its time. Apple, they didn't have the chip manufacturing and the ability to produce a machine or produce a chip that could work within the confines of that machine. But now they do. And the A18, obviously, we all have A-series chips in these phones that can do some pretty incredible things. And they're not breaking down from heat, or, you know, there's no fan inside of these things. So that is, I am so looking forward to this. Like, it's just so interesting to me. Not even so much as far as me using it on a day-to-day basis, which I might, but it's just very interesting because it's so new and different. It's exciting. Yeah.
It's going to be Apple's like Chromebook. I think they're going to like lean heavily into iCloud usage. They're going to want people to sign up for, you know, the 2 terabyte iCloud Premium or whatever. Like, I think it's going to come in a bunch of cool colors, I think, obviously with the Easter eggs that they do with the invite. but I think it's going to be like very limited SKUs in terms of like upgradability. Like it's going to have like 1 or 2 storage options. I bet you won't even be able to determine how much RAM you get in it because it is an A18 Pro chip. Like you can't determine that on an iPhone, right? So I think it's going to be for people that are, like you said, on the go, that don't need anything super heavy, but maybe on the off chance they gotta, I don't know, edit some video or edit a photo or something like that, because the A18 is powerful enough to do that. But I think it's going to be a very specific use case for people, and it's going to be an iCloud machine. That's what that thing's going to be for, running macOS.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could be very much on the money there. Yeah, it's going to be.
And I think I think people are worried it's going to cannibalize MacBook Air sales. I think it's actually going to like affect iPad sales.
I think so too. Yeah,
right?
I would think so, more so than anything else. And also, here's the real question mark about this whole thing. You know where I'm going with this?
Keep going. Maybe.
Okay. Will this have cellular for the very first time?
Yes. Man, I would love that. I would love it.
It would be the perfect test bed for cellular Macs. And we already know Apple has their own cellular modem now. They have 2 generations of it under their belt. And this is using an A series chip.
Yep.
It just seems to make so much sense. It just seems to make a lot of sense.
I could see another Apple move. I could see Apple, like, I think right now, what's the upcharge on the iPad? Like $199, right? To get cellular on the iPad. I bet you they'll charge like $299 to get cellular on this Mac. So it's like $599 base, but if you want to add cellular, another $299.
Possibly. And you're mentioning the whole thing with iCloud. Well, that's the perfect combination. Well, you have internet wherever you go. Your stuff's on iCloud. Hey.
Yeah.
You can connect. You can grab your documents on your Creator Studio plan.
Yeah.
And then play all your Apple One, like Apple, what do they call it? Games, not game. What's the game?
Apple
Arcade.
Apple Arcade. Yeah,
play all your Apple Arcade games with your Apple One plan.
Yeah.
And you have your 2 terabytes of iCloud storage.
Okay. I mean,
and then you have
makes sense.
Apple TV.
Like aside from video files, everything for me is stored in the iCloud. Aside from video. So like a lot of my documents, like a lot of Word stuff. Like I have like one, like my desktop on the Mac and on the iPad and everything is just an iCloud desktop. So it's all shared amongst I can access everything whenever I need to.
Okay, so you're one of those. Okay, all right, good to know.
Whoa, what does that mean? One of those?
So I never, like, on the videos, the Mac walkthrough videos, that's one of the very first things I'd tell people to turn off. Because so explain to me how this is, explain this to me. Like, because I've always wondered why Apple includes that. I mean, I understand fundamentally why the option is there, but how is it usable? Like, how do you find this usable? How do you find it not intrusive to where, like, everything on your desktop is just iCloud synced?
Yeah.
And in your documents?
What do you mean by that?
So it does desktop and documents, right? So the documents folder.
I don't really play. Like I'm telling you, I only go to my iCloud desktop like folder on all my devices. So I'm looking at my desktop right now. I have like a folder for my daughter's school. I have an insurance information folder. I have my tax document folder. I have a temporary folder that holds a lot of wallpapers. So all my wallpapers are accessible whenever I want to. And then it's kind of like this like mosh pit of things that I put in and out of it. So like whenever I have thumbnails ready to go, they'll go in my desktop. And then when I'm done with those thumbnails, I'll delete them and take them off the desktop. So it's kind of like this intermediary thing that I can always access my files on.
So, all right. So you have your main Mac there or your main computer. So as far as these desktop items, so how do you use them on other devices? Like why do you want them synced?
It's not that I use them. It's more so just to like pull them. Right, to be able to like access them. Like a weird use case is if I need to return an Apple product, right? I'll save the return label on my Mac desktop, and then I'll run
how many gigabytes is that folder?
Don't tell anybody. I have a return label folder on my desktop.
Oh my goodness.
It's empty right now, guys. I swear it's empty. But then I'll just like go with my iPhone because I don't have a printer, so like I'll go to like I don't know somewhere else to go get it printed, and I'll just pull it up on my iCloud desktop on my iPhone and like air print it or whatever. It's like those like use case. So it's like everything that I need is accessible from all my different devices wherever I am. That's kind of what I use it for.
Interesting.
And I just like I like the desktop just because it's like I don't know, I can just drag and drop whatever I want onto the desktop from any device. Again, I don't do it for large files. Like the biggest file is probably like 10 megabytes, and it's like a wallpaper or something or a picture. Because video, I would never do that for video. That would take too long.
Oh yeah, I mean you would fill up your entire. At least for me, one video would be like the entire allocation of iCloud storage. So and that's one of the reasons why, because I'm not super. I try to stay as organized as possible, but I do use the desktop as sort of an intermediary, and it just like sometimes I'll just want to dump stuff there quickly, and I'll come back to it later. But that doesn't really play nice with iCloud storage, because first of all, you have stuff uploading and downloading all the time. If you do that, and I don't really want that. But it's interesting to hear your take. Maybe I'll explore that.
So if you need to like, you don't have like files that you need to access from all your devices at one time, or is it?
I do, but then I'll just dump them over into the iCloud, the Files app or the iCloud Drive.
Okay.
Like so, I'll.
Makes sense.
So basically, you're doing the same thing. Is that? But your desktop is the iCloud Drive, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. And I feel like I've always done it that way. Even back like my first job out of college, we were using like Microsoft OneDrive, and they gave us like a Dell Latitude, and I did the same thing there, man. Everything would just be like, it would be like the Microsoft OneDrive desktop. I would just save it onto there, and then in the OneDrive app on my iPhone, I could like pull it up wherever I was, Yeah. I've always done that. I don't know why.
Well, I have to tell you, man, that this MacBook is by far the most interesting product that Apple has released in a very long time. That Apple will be releasing in a very long time. It's very, very interesting, and I cannot wait to hear more about it. So, obviously, everything else on this list is important as well, but nothing to like me, nothing holds a candle to that. So, yeah I can't wait.
Let's hope to see. I'm telling you, if there's data on there, this thing will sell like crazy, and I think that's where Apple's gonna like make all their margin on that C1X modem in there, if they want to.
Yeah, so I can see that.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
we'll definitely be getting them. So like, get subscribed. We're gonna try to get our hands on at least a little bit of everything that's coming out, and we'll have reviews out and some impressions and stuff like that. I can see you using this MacBook as like your main like run around Mac.
Absolutely, I would prefer that way over an iPad. To be honest with you.
Whoa, let's relax. Let's chill out.
Okay, but I mean seriously though, like,
yeah,
I could definitely see. I would use it way more than an iPad, because for me, and we won't go into this, we can talk about this another time, but the iPad's a great piece of hardware, but to me, still software wise, it just doesn't connect with the Mac. Like if you do your stuff on a Mac, if you're a Mac user primarily, it just doesn't, you can make it work, but it just doesn't mesh with a low cost MacBook. I could just open that thing up and just be going, and everything's familiar. Yeah. Everything works exactly the same as my desktop. I don't have to learn new gestures and do all this karate, all this finger karate to make two windows appear. Like it's just crazy, man. So
no, I agree.
Yeah, it's easier.
And that's why I think it's gonna hurt iPads more than like a MacBook Air.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah. I think a MacBook Air would just be the next logical step up from this, but especially
like I think iPad Air sales are gonna like, who would want to get an iPad Air now? Like at least the iPad Pro has like the Pro user, like whatever that is,
and the nice display and all that.
Yeah, and the nice hardware, but like there's no point in having an iPad Air anymore, I guess, because you could just get the low cost iPad and get the same thing, if you just want like a throw around kid tablet. So again, I'm very curious to see how Apple positions it also, how they market it and who they market it to. Is it like an education play? Is it like for the runaround professional? Is it all the above? Is it like, who knows? Yeah, to finish the thought, I mean, we're very excited for the MacBook that's coming out. Everything else is kind of like, it's cool. We'll cover it, of course, and see what Apple has in store. Like, I'm also excited for the studio display. But outside of that, it's like the MacBook is definitely the one that I'm most curious about and most excited about.
For sure. Yeah. It's just such an interesting. It's not even so much that I need that. It's just interesting. And
Exactly.
Apple products are very rarely interesting, but this one is definitely interesting, right?
It's gonna be interesting for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be the iCloud and Apple Intelligence device. Watch. And on that note,
We'll have another episode out before the event. But this is like sort of a preliminary. So we'll talk more about some of the other hardware aspects in an upcoming episode, and we'll see you the next time.
let's do it. Peace, everyone.